So you just finished dinner and you need your little sweet treat. You want to stick to your healthy eating plan, but you just can't get that sweet craving out of your mind. Apples, right? No. Apples with a sweet and fulfilling dip. As a sweet tooth girly, I get it, and I'm not here to tell you that sugar is evil. I'm Kelsey, a fellow chocolate lover and fitness coach who helps women reclaim their confidence by lifting heavy. And as a woman who's been through many diet phases and bulks, I have come to realize that my sweet tooth can get in the way of my progress. So I have a couple of go-tos or swaps for healthy desserts that I will often lean towards when I'm wanting to have something sweet, but also stay eating something healthy and fulfilling for my goals. So the first thing that we're going to start with is something that you are probably no stranger to at this point, but let's talk about it, the fruit and yogurt bowl. It's something that is simple and satisfying. It includes all the macronutrients in order to be a dessert that is both fulfilling and satisfying for your goals. And that, in fact, is one habit and pattern that you're going to see as a common theme throughout. All of the dessert swaps that I like to try to include in my healthy eating but want a sweet treat phase are going to be something that are balanced, including carbs, healthy fats, protein, and probably some fiber, because those are the things that are going to give you the most bang for your buck and help you feel satisfied and fulfilled while still having something sweet. According to the World Health Organization, the average American consumes about 150 pounds of sugar per year. That is a lot, and you probably should only be having somewhere between 25 to 50 grams per day, which if you track your calories at all, you would know that you can hit that number so easily. So many foods and things have hidden sugars, and not all sugars are bad, but we do want to be mindful of the added sugars that we're including, especially when you're in a dieting phase. At the end of the day, sugar gives you that dopamine hit and it makes you feel better. I am not, nor will I ever be, the kind of health coach that tells you you can't have sugar and make progress. You absolutely can. You can have sugar and you can have balance. That's why I think these healthy swaps are helpful to have from time to time. Let's get into one of my favorites that is light and refreshing and perfect for summer if you're on a little weight loss journey. You really just need 3 ingredients. It's super simple and a really great way to get that sweet fix in while also be having something that's healthy and good for your gut. We're gonna start with the light whipped topping. Okay, normally I would make the full batch, but I am only making a half batch today, so keep that in mind. We're going to use our eyes and our heart here and cut this in half, and we're gonna put it into the bowl. Now we know that cravings are just messages from your body. Your body's trying to tell you something, and your blood sugar really is one of the most powerful signals that you can get from your body. So something that you might look out for that would be a sign of unbalanced blood sugar would be energy crash. You might be craving sugar and caffeine constantly. You might have trouble sleeping, you might have irregular mood, and you might also kind of feel always hungry or always thirsty. I'm gonna pop this in the microwave real quick just to get it a little bit more warm, because I didn't get it out of the freezer on time for it to be a little bit more softened up. So you can set this out of your freezer for maybe 10-15 minutes before you whip it all together. Okay, that should do because we don't want it melting. We're gonna take our second ingredient, which I like to use the Oikos 000, specifically the caramel yogurt. You can use whatever flavor yogurt you like. I just love a good Granny Smith paired with caramel. I think there is no better flavor pairing. So do what you want with the flavor of yogurt. We are going to take the whole thing and put it in with our whipped topping. Like I said, we're only doing half today. Normally when I do a full serving of this, I do use 2 yogurts because I like the flavor to be a little bit more pronounced, and I also like having more protein in with our whipped topping. Now remember, just because you're having a craving doesn't mean that you always need to fulfill it. But hopefully some of these sweets can be something to look forward to when you do feel like you want to have a sweet in the moment, but aren't really looking to spend a lot of your calories. One thing you can do if you're not really trying to have sweets, or you're kind of full, you're not really hungry, you could try going for a walk. You know that I am a huge fan of taking a walk post-meal because it does help promote digestion, but it also helps take your mind off of the sweet craving that you might be feeling. You could also just drink a glass of water and wait 20 minutes. And if you're not finding that you're craving that after 20 minutes, then chances are the water was actually what your body might have needed. One helpful tip, which we've already talked about here before, is eating enough enough food so that it keeps you full for 3 to 4 hours at a time. I want you to make sure that you're feeling satisfied and energized by the meals that you are consuming, and not necessarily like you're hungry an hour afterwards. That could be a sign actually that you need a little bit more healthy fats or water. It's not always hunger when we feel those cravings. Another option alongside of that would be to eat when you're hungry, not to wait till you're starving, but try your best not to eat just to eat. I think one of the most important things that is helpful for regulating your sweet cravings is learning what your body's needs are and honoring that as best you can. Now, of course, it's not always something that's going to come easy or naturally to you, but over time, when you prioritize whole nutrient dense foods, it can be really helpful to understand, do I just need water? Do I just need something with a little bit of sodium? Do I need that sweet? Or am I just craving it? And can something else fulfill that need? Oh, not the floor. Another one that you may have heard before is to try to wait to have caffeine after your first meal of the day. If we're having caffeine on an empty stomach, it does not really help promote stable blood sugars. It's not a bad thing. You can do it if you like to have your coffee first, but you might find that you're going to feel a little bit more energized throughout your day if you do have breakfast first before caffeine. Now, if you want to track this, you could whip it up as a recipe in your calorie tracker and then track it by the grams. But if we're not really getting technical into that, simply just dip, eat, and enjoy. Truly so refreshing. Now, worth keeping in mind, this doesn't keep too well in the fridge for very long, maybe like 2 to 3 days max, and then it kind of separates and gets a little bit watery. Hence why it's another good idea to just do half the batch, especially if you're trying it for the first time. I would highly recommend that. Okay, now where do we leave off? Something along the lines of meal timing, walking after meals, all of those things, which I love and preach by and try to always implement myself. And one thing that goes along with that is going to be having a high protein breakfast. When you start your day with the right amount of protein and a combination of healthy fats and carbs, whole grains, fiber, you're going to have better digestion and better energy throughout the day. It's going to help you be less likely to have those cravings later in the day. And to be honest, I don't know why you wouldn't want that. Another one that goes along with that is going to be fasting for at least 12 to 13 hours. And this is overnight. You don't have to call it intermittent fasting. That's not necessarily what it is, but basically it's just a 12 to 13 hour window where you're giving your digestive system an actual break. Now, one other one that I talk about quite often is going to be eating in a calm environment. And I know you're like, what does that have to do with anything? How is that going to stop me from craving sweets? It's going to help you be more mindful and more in tune with what your body is actually wanting. So when you're eating and being present with your food, you're able to fully chew your food, focus on what you're doing, instead of being distracted by scrolling or watching something. We're always so distracted. And when you eat while you're distracted, you're going to be a little bit less likely to notice those full cues and be done and move on. And the most important point of all of those habits are that these are lifestyle habit shifts that help you in the long run balance your blood sugar, reduce those cravings, and overall have more stable energy and be less chaotic and all over the place. And as we discussed, your habits and patterns are what led you to this place. When you're constantly feeding yourself sweets, you're gonna want the sweets. And so if we can do a better job of all the other things that help promote better, stable blood sugar, you're gonna be less likely to have those cravings. And I think that is the key. But if I'm being honest, you know I have a little bonus tip for you, and that is to eat what you're craving, but learn how to do it in a way that's going to be optimal for your goals. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I like ice cream, and if I'm craving ice cream, but I'm trying to have all these alternatives, all these swaps first, I try Greek yogurt as a swap, I try my apple as a fix, I try some energy bites, something that has a little bit of chocolate, I'm eating the chocolate chips in the cupboard, and then all of a sudden I cave in and I say fuck it and I just eat the ice cream. Now I've eaten so many more calories than I would have in the first place if I would have just started with the ice cream and had what I wanted and honored my body, honored that craving, had a little bit of what I was truly desiring and moved on. So much of the food guilt and shame that we experience when it comes to these sweet cravings comes from overdoing it and not doing a good job of balancing when to give in to the craving and when to have a swap. And that's what I want for you. I want you to have that freedom and flexibility to be like, okay, I'm gonna have it tonight, or okay, I'm gonna pass and maybe I'll have it another night. Something else random that comes to me is this pressure or expectation in society where we have this sense of just because I'm offered something means I should have it. An example of this would be at a birthday party. You're offered birthday cake, you're offered a cupcake. I personally don't like cupcakes. I could do without the birthday cake. Like, I would rather have anything else other than those. And so I have no harm, no foul, no guilt, no shame, no issue saying no to something I don't want because I don't like it. And it's not to offend anyone else who's offering it to me. It's just, I don't like it, so I don't want it. I'm not gonna eat the calories on something that I don't want. And I think we need to just do a better job of normalizing that and reducing the pressure to say yes to something when you're not even truly wanting it. There is always a time and a place for enjoying and indulging in sweets or things that you enjoy. But social pressure, not it for me. And that's something that I work on with my clients, to be honest with you. It's a lot of the mental game, and I will always be here to hype you up on that. Here's the truth. Throughout all of this, I hope you've gained the fact that you don't need to cut out sugar completely in order to stop craving it. You do, however, need balance, and that means prioritizing whole nutrient-dense foods, balanced meals, fiber, getting your water in, giving yourself grace, and knowing when it's time to say yes and when it might be time to say no. You are allowed to enjoy food and want to still feel good in your body, and desserts get to be a part of that. Now, if you've made it this far, thank you for coming by and getting some tips and tricks on sweet treats. In the comments below, let me know what you'd like to see from me next. If you try this, come back and let me know. And until next time, remember to be so dramatic about your health and wellness because strong is sexy and you are too.